Alrighty, well I've finally done it. I'll show you the guts of a Coleman hot water system now. This is my current one, this is my old one. But when you take these apart you'll see there's all obvious screws in these normal places. And then you've got the little cavity which holds your little bottles. A little propane bottle, LPG bottle there. Now there'll be ones there and some of them are a pain in the ass to get at because they're so tight in there, so you need a stubby screwdriver. I've used this old one on a pocket knife, but there's one that's hidden under your sticker. There's one there. I actually broke that initially, I think. There it is there. So keep that hidden one in mind under the sticker underneath the bottom of the knob. Now let's have a look at a few little bits and pieces. There's your regulator in there. That's the switch I've been playing with the other one that'll turn your water on and off. Propane line goes up through here, and I believe that's a propane solenoid. This hole show up here. That's your windings and that for it there. That feeds down into here. Now I'll go on about the propane setup in a second. But here's your water inlet, which initially goes to here, and there's one to turn your water on and off. Another solenoid, and I think it ends up going through these, and then it ends up going into the actual heat exchanger itself, which I'll cover in a second. The water comes out here, goes through this and that. Now one of these I think is a switch on, switch off solenoid, and I think it might be this one's a solenoid, and one of them is a temperature gauge, which I think it would be this one, because it's got a lot of anti-scalding measures and all this blooming bits and pieces, all safety stuff, Californian laws, world laws, and they've jumped to and made it pass all of them, but in the process there is a lot of wires and solenoids and shut-offs. Now here's a little circuit board for the front. In case you don't realise, that's actually mostly, not completely, but a fair bit of it is sunk in epoxy. It actually feels like it's rubberized, but you can get this epoxy that you sink your electronics into for water applications, and we saw a bit of use of that when we were at Burma Nurseries. There's another circuit board down there too. I think that's the side the battery goes in anyway. There's your LEDs. Now let's get on with the heat exchanger. Now there's your propane. There's 8 jets in there. Yeah, I'm not really seeing this very well. There we go. You just see these little, they look like little bolts. They're jets, and they're stuck in with some sort of a white paste inside. Propane comes inside this, what looks like a piece of RHS from there, and yeah, it lets it out. Now these jets, of course, have got a bit of a Venturi thing going on, and they blow up through there and then ignite actually right up inside there. And these wires here, that's all your ignition system. Now where it draws the air in through there to go through your little Venturi tubes there, this is what they've got. And this is sort of smart. This is actually done quite intelligently. Yeah, there we go. See, the wind blows, it actually closes, and then it opens again. I'll show it on the other side so you can see it for real. Okay, the wind blows, and it closes, and the wind, and it's fine. And that will literally blow back and forwards with each gust of wind. It'll close the air temporarily, and then bang, open it back up again. And that's a very smart little thing they've made, and they've also got one in the top which effectively does the same thing. Very smart. Now that's your exhaust ports, of course, which are on either side. But your actual heat exchanger as such, hang on a second. Now your actual heat exchanger, I thought this heat exchanger was a big thing that went right up through all this. When I took it apart last time, it's only very short. And there it is there, fins with pipes running through it. It's like a tiny little radiator. It actually reminds me of a little condenser for air conditioning system. But that only goes through there. Yeah, those curly pipes there, those U-bends you can see, there's 2 of them, that's all it goes through. And the fins are right up there. I originally thought they were going right down quite a distance. And your big gap area that you can sort of make out by the amount of a gap you can see there. All this is just where your flames are. Oh yeah, you can see the dimple in the steel there, and the copper plate rather there. And that is just your flame section, pretty much. Quite interesting little device. I don't recommend them. Very good heat exchanger, I will say. But when it comes to all battery issues and electronics, and you look purely at the amount of shut-offs you got, you know, regulators, you got flipping shut-offs, you know, temperature things, more shut-offs. A lot of switches, electronics, circuit boards. You know, she's a rather complicated little device. I mean, even this switch is complicated enough. You know, but this is what they had to do to meet all the different worldwide safety standards, and you know, make a device that they could basically sell to the world, not just the States. And I think a lot of this stuff was all done due to the Californian laws, but you all know what Californian laws are like, so I'm not going to even go there. But yeah, oh, that little box there you see, that's the pocket that holds the what's his name, the battery. And there's your top part of your regulator, you can see down there with a little blue bit on it. Lo and behold, there's another switch above that as well. Interesting little devices, but when you take them apart or put them together, try to make sure you don't bend these little things. These can be a pain in the butt when you're trying to put it back together, and trying to get all these things to line up. And don't forget the little hidden screw. But yeah, you know, they're a great device if you can sort of butcher them, a failed one, because you may be able to get it to work if you can get all your solenoids and all this to work. And keep in mind, all this stuff is all 6-volt stuff, and you know, if you can get all this stuff to run, or you just want to butcher it for the heat exchanger alone, yeah, it's probably going to be quite a good little device to play with. And all this here is all electronic ignition, and there is some box I've seen somewhere, little, I don't know where it is now, a little black box that actually runs all these igniters. But failing that, you can get something like that as a barbecue replacement, and you could probably, you know, just hook that onto one of these, keep that on a negative or whatever, and be able to use the heat exchanger out of it if you get your hands on a dead one. And there's quite a few people that kill these by actually running, well, a clump of mud up through the water pump usually, so they're not that hard to find somebody who's had one and killed it. And the other thing is too, you may easily get ones that are dead because of the shit batteries in them, because after the batteries have been sitting on the shelf for bloody, you know, 6 months or so, they're often dead. These batteries are a pain in the arse, and basically only give you about 3 days worth of a run. But if you can get a large style 6-volt battery, such as this one here, who lasted nearly a year, then, you know, you got quite a chance that you can make a go of fixing up a dead one in your own time.